name's Michelle Crouch, and I teach voice and direct the opera at Augustana College in Rock Island. And I love the way that music structures time. And I think about that a lot because musical events are often big events. They happen on a particular date at a particular time, and there's a lot of publicity. People go out to these events. And we often think of the arts in terms of artifacts. And for music, that is a time. It has a place and a time, and you have to be there or you missed it. Of course, there's recordings, that's true, but those recordings are always based on music that happens in real time. But one of the things that I think about a lot as a music teacher at the college level is how much we rely on the high levels of putting music together, things like opera that have a whole lot of musicians, orchestra, conductor, singers, artists who design and build the set, lighting directors, everything that goes into making an opera happen. And I think in terms of the hours and hours and hours of skill that are developed in very undramatic ways in homes and schools and ballet classes and all of the ways that people learn. And it's an enormous amount of time. If you tabulated in a particular opera how much time goes into it, you would end up with years of time accumulative for people to have the skills to put together an event like that. And so that makes me think of the true nature of musical creativity is a hidden kind of work. It takes time too. It takes regular, repetitive time. And I have memories of practicing my piano when I was a little girl. I started taking piano lessons. And I had parents that were conscientious to make sure that I practiced. They weren't going to pay for lessons if I wasn't going to practice, and practicing was part of my work. And my mom would be in the kitchen, and I would be in the living room with the timer set so that I would know when my practice time was up. I sometimes remember her calling B flat. She knew when I played the wrong note, and was it musical enough to know to engage in that way. But the biggest thing that she did was make me do it. And at some point along the way, the scales and technical exercises that you spend hours cultivating turned into skill. And you started to make music that was worth listening to. It doesn't start out worth listening to, but that's where it all starts. And many, 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 many years I studied piano, and out of that learned to play a band instrument as well in school, and I joined the choir. As soon as there was a choir, I sang at church, I sang everywhere around the house. There was a lot of music. We listened to a lot of music at home. We had no television, so making music was an activity that we could do. And that is, I think, the time that it takes to cultivate a skill that is well enough developed that it can be put with other people's skills and made into something that is worth listening to for the public, is a great creative work. But it doesn't look fancy on the front of it, and it relies on structures of home and discipline and interaction from parents and children. Those are immensely important details that allow creativity to grow. And the repetition, the monitoring of it, all of that, I rely on that. And when I see students coming into college without the skills, without the reading skills that I wish they had, one of my jobs is to get to teach them how to read music so that their skill can start to grow, that they can become fluent. And I always have to make sure that they know that there's no shame in something that they have not been taught, and not knowing something that they have not been taught. But now the task is in front of them. They have to learn to read. They have to learn how to perform. They have to learn what to do so that they have skill. And that's a great work. And so the large cultural commodities of like an opera, where you bring many people together and rehearse and produce something, rest on many, many more years of skill development that is equally creative, only hidden. It's something people don't see. And sometimes I think they forget about it. They think that we can have the large, wonderful, breathtaking works without all of that painstaking development. But you can't. The painstaking development is what makes those things happen. And both are really, really satisfying works. So that's how I think about music. Music inhabits time, and the formation of skills requires a great deal of time, but it's an investment. It's an investment in something that grows and bears fruit for many generations.